So I'll start with an update on the genders of the deceased. We are working to give you the best information that we can as quickly as we can. This investigation is constantly evolving, and we have learned some new information about the 11 homicide victims. We ask that in regard to the 11 victims, media now refer to them as 7 women, 2 men, 1 non-binary, and 1 child. Just a brief update on the medical status of those still in the hospital. There are currently 16 surviving victims in hospital. 5 are now listed as being in critical condition, 1 in serious condition. There are others who have been discharged and other people who have gone to hospital or clinics on their own. All victims that we know of have been identified. If there are people who have not yet come forward, please do so when you feel ready. This is in regards to victims. If there are victims that have come forward, please do so when you feel ready. We are working to identify the victim nationalities, and we're working with CBSA, Passport Canada, and Global Affairs Canada. If victims are foreign nationals, we encourage them to contact the consulate for support. Regarding the investigation, detectives are continuing to work 24 hours a day on this file. Investigators are requesting video footage captured from the festival on April 26th between 8 and 8:30 p.m. Investigators are requesting first-hand video footage, not copies, not duplicates of footage from social media or online. Witnesses who have not yet spoken to police are asked to contact the VPD Homicide Unit at 604-717-2500. This phone number is also on our website and social media channels. Regarding the crime scene, VPD has provided limited access to businesses in the area. City of Vancouver has asked that any further questions about the reopening of the roads in the area be directed at them. We are aware that there may be witnesses speaking to media that have not yet come forward to the police. We are asking those people to call our investigators directly at 604-717-2500. Again, this phone number is on our website and our social media channels. The pop-up community support center is now open. This is in the 500 block of East 43rd Avenue. So that's on East 43rd between Fraser and St. George Street. This is a place for people to obtain info, seek emotional support, access resources. This is staffed by VPD officers and victim service civilian professionals from noon until 8 p.m. daily until Friday. Since yesterday, we have had 100 people visit the center. We encourage anyone who is in need of support, resources, or if you just want to come by and need someone to talk to, please stop by. There have been lots of questions from media whether or not we can confirm certain fraudulent or legitimate or illegitimate GoFundMe pages. We're unable to confirm those pages for victim privacy reasons. But I can tell you we haven't had any reports into us about fraudulent accounts. That doesn't mean that these accounts don't exist. We are just asking people to be aware, be mindful that fraud could happen. And if anybody feels that they're looking at a page and this page could be fraudulent, we ask that they reach out to the GoFundMe organizers directly, the people that are in charge of that page, that website, and they can confirm if the account is legitimate or not. Are there any questions from the room? We'll start with the room first. And I should specify any questions about this incident. Anything outside of this vehicle attack file, we can answer separately. Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Just given mental health is kind of considered the linchpin of this incident, we hear from the chief and or interim chief and from the mayor. What does that mean for who's on the investigative team? Are there specialized officers with a mental health background or expertise, or is this something that any and all investigators?
Yeah. So we have. I think we mentioned earlier on that we have hundreds of VPD officers on this file investigating this case, and we have pulled in other resources from other parts of the department, and that will include our mental health team, our mental health unit as well. So there is a full contingent of VPD investigators investigating this. we will take the time that we need to investigate this very thoroughly, methodically.
And how many VPD officers are on the mental health unit, and how many are on this case?
I don't have that information for you, but if you want to email me, I can look into that further.
And just, we've heard about the interactions the person charged in this incident has had with both police and mental health workers. Do you know what the range of time for these contacts is? Like, are we talking like this has been over the course of months, years, the last couple of weeks? Yeah,
so that's information we are not going to speak to. I'm not prepared to speak to that. Just not going to get into that during these briefings.
Have there been any more charges recommended to Crown?
As far as I don't know, just 8. Still remains 8.
And the thinking is there will be more related to the victims who died?
Definitely. So this is, like I said, it's an evolving investigation. We're going to do this as slow, as thoroughly, as methodically as possible, so we can get the best outcome through the court process.
Do you still have 3 victims that are unidentified?
I believe, Steve? I believe all of our victims that were in hospital have all been identified, yeah.
Okay. We know that he had dozens of calls to police in recent years. The vast majority were him complaining about, some of...
So you know what, I'll stop you there. I'm not gonna get into any of that, right? I'm not gonna, we're not getting into his history, we're not getting into his past. It's just something we're not prepared to speak to. I'm here to speak to the investigation, and we're not gonna be touching on that.
You're going back, if you're investigating his history, was he ever a threat or pose any threat of violence?
So that's something that's part of the investigation that our investigators will look at. We're publicly not gonna be releasing his history, and I'm not prepared to speak any more about that.
Okay, so if someone contacts the VPD repeatedly, hypothetically, and they are under supervision from Vancouver Coastal Health, they're certified under the Mental Health Act, repeatedly contacting police with unfounded complaints, just hold on, bear with me.
Sure.
Would that trip notification for their healthcare team? Because this is going through the police.
I appreciate the question. I appreciate it. I'm not trying to come off as rude or inconsiderate. I appreciate the question. I know it's a question everyone has and they keep asking, obviously. We're not going to speak in hypothetical terms, definitely not. I'm here to speak to the facts of the investigation, and I'm going to leave the history of our accused for us and for us to form part of our investigation. It's not something we're releasing publicly right now, and I'm not going to get into hypothetical terms of certain calls.
What about the system in place? When does VPD contact a complainant's mental health?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into specifics of other cases. This briefing, the purpose of this briefing is for facts of this case. You can email me later and we can have maybe talk about more into that if you need more background, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Okay, if you can appreciate it. So you can keep asking me something different. I'm going to ask other people for another question, right?
People a chance to ask some
Yeah.
questions.
I got
So
something
we can have
different.
about
It's something
6
different?
minutes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Something
sure.
different.
Sure, if it's a different question.
Yeah, so I missed the presser. It was an inopportune time this morning with Steve Acting
Yeah.
Fry. I think he said that you've doubled car 87, the staffing. Can you give us the current staffing?
I don't have, I'm sorry, I don't have that, but I can look into that. Definitely, I'll look into how many people are on car 87.
Because
Yeah.
a couple years ago, the board heard that, they could do with many more officers.
Mm-hmm.
So is the VPD's position that car 87 is as staffed as it needs to be?
So I will look into how many people are staffed. I don't have those numbers. Steve, I don't believe you know off the top of your head either.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
if you want to email us, Mike, we can certainly look into that. Those would
Yeah.
be good questions maybe to forward to us by email so that we can come prepared rather than in this format, because we just want to make sure that we have the most appropriate information.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you possibly provide us with an update on the status of the 22-month-old child who was in serious condition?
As far as I know, the most up-to-date info I have is that they were still in hospital. I don't have the status of that that child. Yeah. Yes.
I appreciate this may be something you cannot speak to, but we know that the suspect was, I believe, a co-owner of the vehicle or was listed as an owner of the vehicle. Can you say anything about whether he had a legal, a driver's license or access to the vehicle based on him being on leave from involuntary care?
Right. I don't have that information.
Have you substantiated the dash cam footage from the Tesla Deer Lake Park, reportedly from earlier.
So details of the investigation and what our investigators are doing, I won't get into it. I'm not prepared to speak to. We are trying to get the best evidence. We don't want to ruin the status of the investigation. You know what I mean? Like, we are trying to complete a very thorough and methodical investigation, and we don't want to ruin the outcome of that by releasing too many investigative details.
Okay, and the mayor said this morning, I believe, that 36 of the 49 nurses that he wanted to hire have been hired. That was down from his campaign pledge of 100 nurses. So have there been any other nurses, or is that just the final total that you're gunning for is 49?
That would be a question for the mayor, who's hiring the nurses.
Okay, and
or Vancouver Coastal Health.
How do they work with the VPD?
The nurses? Okay, yeah, great question. So we have several mental health programs here at the VPD that involve Vancouver Coastal Health. One being, it's widely known, our CAR 87 mental health car that's been around here at the VPD since 1978. And again, it's VPD officers in plain clothes partnering with mental health professionals to do assessments of or intervention of those people living with mental illness. We also have our assertive outreach team, also known as AOT. This is a short-term community initiative that involves partnership with Vancouver Coastal Health. And again, it helps people coming out of hospital or out of jail to reintegrate back into the community. A more long-term solution is our ACT team, or Assertive Community Treatment Team. This is long-term, and it takes those high-risk, high-needs clients through long-term wraparound systems. So those are just 3 programs that we have here at the VPD that integrate officers with mental health professionals, people that know this as their bread and butter.
And is CAR 87 24/7?
I believe there's a daytime and a late afternoon car. However, our patrol officers are 24/7, and we will go to calls as well and then refer those calls to police.
So
to the programs.
Yeah, so my understanding is there's 3 shifts at CAR 87.
Sure, you know what? I can get you that information. I just don't have it at the top of my head. Yeah, but definitely put that in your email along with the other things.
Okay, and then the mayor also pledged 100 officers new. Last fall, I think the department said it was at 67 net new, even though the mayor's saying 100. And do you have a current total?
No, I don't.
Since 2 years
I
ago?
don't, unfortunately I don't. Yeah, I'm not prepared to get into those details. Does anybody else in the room have a question on this investigation before we head to the phones? Yes.
Yeah, just with mental health being, again, the lead factor in this case, is the evidence police are gathering and submitting to Crown, is some of that evidence to establish fitness of the defendant to stand, or the accused to stand trial, establishing mens rea, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to speak into specifics of where our investigation is going, what evidence we're using and whatnot. So again, that's not something we can speak to.
I got the number, the mayor said 38 have been hired of the 49. How are those spread out? The ACT, AOT?
I don't know, Mike. I can look into that for more. I'm here to talk about this file, right? I get there's a correlation here, but I don't have those specifics. Okay. So we'll head to the phones. Those on the phone, if you could press *1 to be in the queue. If you can just state your name and agency. Go ahead.
Hi, it's Catherine Urquhart here. Yesterday, Sergeant Addison mentioned that about 200, I believe, witnesses have been identified, and he also gave a number on the pieces of tape that have been uploaded. I'm wondering if you can update us on those numbers and any others that you might have. Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. No, I don't have an update on that. Our investigators are doing a very comprehensive video canvas, and that video canvas is spanning a 25-block radius. They're also in charge of witness interviews, a review of all the tips that came in, and a scene canvassing. So there's about 200 witnesses that we know of so far, and this includes volunteers, security, a slew of witnesses, people affected by this. So again, it's going to take some time, and if you haven't been contacted yet and you are a witness, please be patient, but we're going to take as much time as we need.
Thank you.
Hi there, go ahead. Hi there, go ahead with your question. Hi.
It's been a few days. Yep, hi there. It's been a few days since the announcement of the charges, 8 second-degree murder charges. We're a few days later. I think a lot of people are wondering about the other 3 deceased, when charges will come. Can you talk to me a little bit about some of the hurdles in those additional charges?
So, as you can appreciate, we are in day 5 of a mass murder investigation. Day 5. So, that is quite soon. There are many processes in place. There's many investigative avenues that we are taking. And we need to do this very thoroughly and methodically so we get the best outcome. So we will update you when and if we have more charges, but as of right now, we have 8 charges of second-degree murder.
Were there any weapons found on the suspect or in the vehicle?
That's not evidence that I can get into right now. I'm not prepared to speak on any type of evidence. Hi there, go ahead with your question.
Hello, it's Wendy Cox from the Globe and Mail. I just have a quick question. We know that there's a 22-year-old in serious condition. We know that there was a 5-year-old girl that killed. Are there any other children that are in hospital?
Do you know? No, not that we're aware of. We were just aware that not that we're aware of at this time. The 22-month-old, I believe, remains in hospital.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the room? Okay, thank you very much.
All right, well, there was the update from Vancouver Police on the Lapu-Lapu Day Festival tragedy. That was Constable Tanya Vizentine speaking there. She gave an update on the victims of the alleged attack. She says the 11 victims include 7 women, 2 men, 1 non-binary person, and a child. She says that 16 people remain in hospital, 5 in critical condition, and 1 person in serious condition. Now, police say that they believe all the victims that they know of have been identified. Police are asking for any first-hand video captured by anyone at the time of the incident to contact police. They're also warning of fraudulent fundraising campaigns. They say that they're aware of that and they're asking people to be vigilant. So that was the information that police provided in this update. Now, what they didn't give a lot of information on was on the suspect or any updated charges. Now, 30-year-old Kaiji Adam Lowe has been charged in connection to this alleged attack. He's facing 8 counts of second-degree murder. Now, Vizentine said they have not laid any other charges, or any more charges rather. And now a lot of this information about the history of Lowe, the suspect, is coming out now. And police were, of course, asked about that during this conference, but they say that they're not going to speak on his past and not going to publicly release his history. Now, Vancouver Coastal Health, they confirmed that the suspect, Lowe, he was under the care of a mental health team being supervised under the Mental Health Act at the time of the incident and was on an extended leave from a psychiatric facility. Now, with that news coming out, there's been a lot of reaction pouring in response to that. Just this afternoon, Premier David Eby spoke to reporters about it. He addressed the growing calls from officials, advocates to reform the BC Mental Health Act. Now, he said the Health Ministry will initiate a review and modernize the act to make sure that it's responsive to cases like this. He also said that he knows that British Columbians are looking for ways to express their grief and solidarity with the Filipino community right now. So the province is declaring a provincial day of mourning on Friday. Now, he says that this will be a day for British Columbians to reflect on the loss of innocent life and a chance to stand with the community who is, of course, hurting right now. And that's it for now. Thank you for joining us for our special live coverage of the latest on the Lapu-Lapu Day Festival tragedy. You are watching CBC News BC. I am Jessica Chung, and have a good afternoon.